Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, this is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That's Corey Tackman. And Corey, we have an interview with Perham Activities Director Erin Anderson coming up at the end of the show. We have state wrestling to talk about, and we have a dramatic buzzer-beating shot to talk about. All of that and more. But first, let's start off with the state wrestling update, because we now know which teams are going to be competing at the state wrestling tournament next week at the formerly known as the XL Energy Center down in St. Paul. And it starts with the defending Class A state champions, Corey, the Staples-Motley Cardinals, who absolutely bulldozed their way to another section title.
Yeah, it sounded like it. We're very lucky again in this part of the state to see some pretty unbelievable wrestling in our immediate coverage area as well. And I know we're going to touch on everybody, and there's been we've got a nice mix of some expected teams, some traditional teams, some long-standing teams to make the state tournament, to the other end of the spectrum of hey, look at this. It's been a while. This is kind of exciting. But Staples-Motley, the defending champions in the class, man, are they deep and man, are they good. And this was one of those it felt inevitable from when before the season even started. And I love it when teams have that expectation put on them and then they come out even somehow stronger. Now, obviously, right, you're going to go talk to any of them and any of the coaches and anybody in that Cardinal wrestling community, and they're going to, job's not done. And whatever sort of cliches need to exist upon that. And they're right. But it's been pretty impressive to see what that Cardinal wrestling program is doing again this year, and to see them just kind of breeze through it and match those expectations and maybe even surpass them. It's pretty special what they've got going.
Really, really cool. Congratulations to Staples-Motley, back-to-back Section 7A, back-to-back 7A champions there. Congratulations to the Cardinals for that achievement. Also, speaking of another long-standing team at the state tournament, it's 4 or 5 times in a row, Corey, that United North Central is back representing Section 8.
Yeah, I think it's year 5 for the Warriors, and really excited. Have you seen have seedings come out yet on the state?
I will check right now as we're talking, but I don't believe so. Because
I know UNC really came on strong down the stretch of the year as far as end of season rankings go. I'm excited to
rankings as of right now on the Minnesota State High School League website.
So I mean it's just awesome. They have been when I first got here in that section, it was always Frazee.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned over from Frazee in for the first half, and the back half of this stretch now has all been UNC for more than a presidential term. The Warriors are just awesome. Once again, it seems like Coach Oyster's he's got it cooking in that wrestling room.
Yeah, Oyster's got a lot stewing over there. It's a great pro. What I did there. Congratulations to Coach Oyster and the program. It's always fun talking with him, and it's kind of become a yearly thing when we do our Morning Sports Desk state wrestling preview that we get to talk with him and about the great stuff in their wrestling room. And we're looking forward to that again next week. We haven't reached out to coaches yet, but we're hoping, again, with Staples-Motley, with United North Central, and all those schools, that we can do a little bit of talking about them getting to the state wrestling tournament. And another mainstay, this time in AA, Corey, the Perham Yellowjackets again.
Back again are the Yellowjackets. There are years, it wasn't that long ago. I remember, I think it was their wrestling and their boys and girls basketball teams made state tournaments all in the same year. I was like, how the hell are there even enough kids to make this feasible, let alone for all of them to be this good and make these state tournament runs? It's cool to see the Yellowjackets a part of this yet again. And again, for us, we're talking about Staples-Motley, from our building, literally where we're doing this right now, a stone's throw, Staples-Motley. A stone's throw, Sabik and Menahga. A stone's throw, over to the Perham Yellowjackets. We're surrounded by the best wrestling in the state.
Section 6 was won by West Central area, Ashby, Brandon, Evansville. So congratulations to them. They are, I believe, back-to-back section champions now. So they will go back and go into 3A, Corey. Here's a story that's not a returner. For the first time in 30 years, the Brainerd Warriors have won their section and are going to state in Class 3A as a team. Was talking a little bit with Kyle Gilsine, our wrestling correspondent, and he was saying that first-year head coach in Brainerd, had been on the staff there for a while, but first year running the ship, and they go to the state tournament for the first time in 3 decades. How about that?
Shout out the Warriors, and also shout out you calling Kyle a correspondent. And that was very official sounding for and I just, does Kyle deserve that sort of
He called like 14 hours worth of wrestling this weekend. I think he deserves an official title.
I know, but then isn't correspondent dismissive?
He was corresponding with results with the people of Central Minnesota. So, it's a bit back when I worked in TV. Basically, whatever story you were that day, the joke in the building was you're that correspondent. And there was a guy who grew up.
It's the old Daily Show bit, right? Like they would have, if you were Chinese, and there was a Chinese story, they would be like senior Chinese correspondent or something.
Yeah, and so there was a guy from like north suburbs of Chicago who went to DePaul and came to work here, and like his first 3 stories he got were like fishing stories. So the joke is that he was the fishing correspondent. So every year at fishing opener in Minnesota and Wisconsin, because they're different days, he would get the story on it and like reporting about the fishing opener. And so he was the fishing correspondent every single year. And so that was the joke. And so now I just bring it over here. Zeke's our great cross country correspondent. Kyle's our wrestling correspondent, and we are
idiots.
Yes, exactly. So congratulations to all the teams making the state wrestling tournament. Corey, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about something really cool that happened on Friday night. And it was the best game I've called all year, and it's not close. It's not close, right? Like, this was a great game between Menahga, Wadena Deer Creek girls basketball. All of the games that these two teams play against each other are some of the best games of the season, bar none, hands down. Like, book it. They are the best. And we saw a dramatic fashion. Menahga up by 8 at one point, they lost the lead. Wadena Deer Creek up by 9 at one point, they lost the lead. Dreah Christiansen, who's the top player for Menahga, top scorer, she was 7 points away from 1,000. Coach Cody Pouliou was telling me pregame, like, he was like saying it's not a guarantee she gets it tonight. Wadena Deer Creek plays her tough. Like, you got to make sure, like, this isn't a given. And at halftime, she had maybe 4 points. So again, could probably get there. Nothing guaranteed. She didn't get it until there was like 5 minutes left in the game. And you thought, okay, she got it off her back. She was having the worst luck all night, right? Like, Wadena Deer Creek was not making it easy. First of all, they were playing great defense. And then she'd get an open look somehow, and the shot would just rattle in and out. Or she'd shoot a 3 and would just hit off the back heel, but it looked good coming off the hand. Like, she just couldn't catch a break all night. Tied up, 49-49. 13 seconds left to play, and we have basically this situation happening for Wadena Deer Creek and Menahga. And let's just go right to the source and talk about it.
You could play it. Hendrickson is going to out of bounds pass from the sideline. Gets it to Mamie Pinanimi. Ball in the hands of Kaisa Hendrickson. Goes to the right side. Now into the hands of Mamie Pinanimi. Left side off the foot. Recovered by the Braves. 1 second. A heave from Christiansen and in! What a shot at the buzzer! It was poked away. A loose ball. Dreah Christiansen had an unlucky night up until the final second. A prayer from the volleyball line. Banks it in, and the check is cashed late on a Friday night. What a win for Menahga. They stay undefeated on the season at 22-0. The hero of the night, Dreah Christiansen, not only getting her 1,000th career point tonight, but also getting a banked-in 3 for the win. What a game.
What a game indeed, Corey. That was a dramatic finish, not only getting the win, not only staying undefeated, but Menahga clinched the full share of the Park Region Conference title. They already had a co-share. The Wolverines with a win could have gotten a co-Park Region Conference champ on there, and it looked like for a long time they were going to, and then Menahga at the buzzer, Dreah Christiansen cashed in all of her bad fortune, and she used up all of her luck on that final shot. She's, there's a lot of great girls on that floor for both teams. She's the only one who's making that shot, in my opinion. And she caught it at the right time. She comes out of nowhere on the corner of the screen and throws it up, and it was awesome.
It's my favorite part of the clip. My favorite part of the clip is that the ball kind of, just with the camera angle, the ball disappears onto the baseline. You have no idea where it is, what's happening, other than, what you're saying with your call. But then the ball just kind of like squeaks out, and you're thinking, as it's happening, like, all right, I know the title of the video is that she gets a buzzer beater, but there ain't nobody anywhere near this ball. And then she just appears like a ghost out of nowhere with the ball in her hands. And then you can see it leave her hands. You're like, nope, left of the mark. The title of the video is that it goes in, but it's like right down the barrel. You're looking right over her head. As this ball goes up, you're like, there's no way. How is this thing going to go? And then clank through, game over. It was really cool how, like, it appeared like there's nothing that could happen. There's no way any of this is going to look right. And then she shows up out of nowhere and cashes it. It was really, I have not seen a ton of buzzer beaters. I've seen, you get every once in a while at halftime. I saw some buzzer beaters that tied the game last year to send games into overtime or double overtime. The Staples-Motley boys played like 4 overtime games in a row last season. It was really crazy. It's been a long time since I've seen a buzzer beater for the W, and from 29 feet.
From the volleyball line at an angle. It was a heave, and she put it in. What a game to get your 1,000th point, and then to hit a buzzer beater to clinch your to continue your undefeated record, to clinch a full share of the Park Region Conference title. I believe they're 4th of the last 5 years. And it's just remarkable. And it's remarkable that how tough Section 8AA is for girls, that Menahga still has no guarantee of the 1 seed, because that's how competitive it is and great, and it's fun.
They could win out, and they're probably the 3 seed.
Right. And I would talk with Coach Pooley, and he's like, that's fine. He's like, we just want to get top 4 and guarantee ourselves home playoff games up until neutral site. And he's like, if we do that, he's like, we're not scared of anybody. We're not trying to hide anybody. Like, we'll play who we play. Let's just do it on our floor.
They're really good, and Dreah's really good. And like in a long line of recent, like in the last decade of some pretty special girls basketball players to come through that Menahga program. She's the next one. She's pretty awesome.
Top 4 at 1,000 points. And what do we talk about all the time? There's a good chance that we're adding her to our list of 2,000 point scorers when she's all said and done.
No doubt.
No doubt. Congratulations to the Menahga Braves. And also just really, really cool. Buzzer beater calls are so fun.
Heck yeah, man.
They are sweet. But the worst part about having it online is anytime like people talk about it, like every once in a while I'll go check on it just to see like how people are responding to people, whatever. And then I have to hear my own call, and you just start nitpicking things, and you're like, yeah, just get over it. Anyway, so that's
who cares?
That's what's going on in my brain. All right, Corey, let's talk about something people do care about, because in a couple minutes we're going to talk with Perham Activities Director Erin Anderson about, again, state tournament for wrestling. Girls basketball is doing well. Boys basketball is chugging along. There's a lot of great things happening at Perham. We're going to talk about all that. But first, Corey, we need to talk about the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena.
By now, you've heard the news. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade are giving away 50,000 FunZone tickets to one lucky FunZone Rewards member in their big ticket giveaway. Here's how you enter. It's really, really easy. If you have a FunZone Rewards account with a registered card, you're already automatically entered. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member yet, just scan the QR code. It's on your screen right now. It's on the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade Facebook page. It's obviously in person when you show up to the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Scan the QR code and join by the end of the month, by February 28th, to get your automatic entry. And then don't forget to add your FunZone card to your new account as well. It's really, really simple. You could win 50,000 FunZone tickets in the big ticket giveaway from Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena.
It is the morning sports desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. I'm CJ Baumgartner, joined by Perham Activities Director Erin Anderson, joining us here on the morning sports desk. And Erin, it's a busy time over there in Perham, huh?
It's a busy time at all our schools. I think we always liken this in our office. We call it the Twilight Zone here. And we always kind of mark down on the calendar when we hit it. And we're in it now. And I think any of my colleague ADs around the area would note it is as busy as it gets kind of right now. And so we've been busy here, though. We've been hosting some things as well. And so that always kind of adds to it, even when you're busy normally on your normal schedule, and then you add some hosting opportunities. So yeah, we were able to host the Heart of Lakes conference that we're in, the Heart of Lakes Wrestling Individual Tournament here, like a week or so ago, a little over a week ago. It was the third shot at it after Mother Nature took it out 2 times. And so it ended up here in Perham. We were glad for that. And it gave us a little preview of hosting sections. We were able to host Section 8AA Wrestling here on Friday. There's just this last Friday. And so we've had couple big wrestling events and a lot going on in that realm.
Let's start with wrestling here as we kind of run through the activities going on at Perham. Another great season for the Yellowjackets and another year where the team's going to be down in St. Paul for the state wrestling tournament. Just what can you say about this group?
It's been a group, man, they have worked hard this year here. Coach Dave Vetch and his staff have done a fabulous job. We're seeing a lot of really good things in the entirety of our wrestling program here. We've got it really, really, really buzzing down in the lower levels in their elementary wrestling program. All kinds of numbers right now that have surprised a lot of people, but we usually have good numbers, but it's been even like I said, surprising. I think it's well over 130 kids in the elementary level that are getting after it. And so they've got a nice feeder system coming. They're doing some really good things with those younger program levels that help feed it. But this group right now that punched their ticket on Friday has been working extremely hard. Their schedule this year has been absolutely brutal on purpose. I like to highlight the fact that people come after the AD sometimes. What kind of schedule is this? And I remind them, I went over this with our coach, and they knew that this was going to be kind of a sharpening type of a schedule. We're going to put ourselves in some situations that make us tougher, stronger, maybe ready at tournament time, and it did pay off. And so they've been on the road a lot. They've been in some big tries, some big tournaments, and obviously has paid off. They get a second straight trip to St. Paul and return as the AAA champs. So good for them. We're excited for them. A lot of good teams here. It was a fabulous day last Friday. Our section has some really good wrestlers in it.
And as we move from wrestling and go into the court, obviously Yellowjacket basketball, something that's been going strong, and that girls basketball team's looking great, I hear.
Yeah, they've had a fabulous season. They're sitting at 20-3, if I remember correctly right now. Ranked in the top 10. I think our latest ranking was 8th. And so they've really achieved at a high level, and TJ Super, our head coach, has them, pretty focused, pretty excited about what could be. But again, we sit in a section here that is kind of loaded with some. It depends on who you're matching up with, and so this tournament, I think when we hit the section tournament, it's really gonna play out. Seeding is gonna be important. Who you might match up with is going to play a big role. Where we've seen some great teams around the section that Perham matches up well with this team, and then all of a sudden that team that we might have just beat handily goes and beats a team that beat us. So interesting. 20-3 is a great run so far. We got a big week this week. We see section opponent and Thief River Falls, East Grand Forks, and DGF in the final week of the season. So it doesn't get any easier this week as they prep for the end of the season and tournament time. If you want me to run into boys have been incredibly competitive. Their record doesn't show like the girls does. They're under 500, I think, right now at 11-12 or 10-12. But they have been in some games and they compete, and they're kind of one of those teams that I don't know that anybody wants to see you come tournament time, and that's kind of what their focus has been. Coach Grant Durkheising and his staff are working hard. You got to survive some of those close losses and try to keep everybody in the right frame of mind, because that can get frustrating. But overall, a really positive feel out of that program. Grant's first year as head coach. They've got a lot of talent, and I think if they pull it together, like I said, they're not somebody you'd want to see. We've had we've had a tough schedule. Pequot Lakes is a really quality team around the area in boys basketball, and 2 minutes to go, we were up 1 with them, and we've had these moments in some big games where if we can get that team over the hump, they're a scary team.
Yeah, exactly. It's always fun with tournament time coming up here for obviously wrestling and basketball and things like that. And let's kind of take a step back to some other sports that have been happening too. I know obviously not everything is Perham. You guys are co-op for some things, but let's talk hockey. Do you have any Perham kids that are playing hockey over West, and just how's that been going?
Yeah, we do have. We've got 3 boys. We don't have any girls this year in our cooperative with Detroit Lakes in the hockey realm, but we have 3 boys that are contributing from the JV level on up, and making incredible contributions in what's been a great run for this hockey team. A formidable number 3 seed coming up here in this week as the sections begin. But they could make some noise. They've had some big victories, and then some close fought battles with those same teams, where they've split a couple of those games, but they've got a shot, and it's been fun to see that happen. So we've had some key contributions from Perham players, and it's nice in a cooperative to see that. It's nice that every year it kind of feels like those that we do send over, aren't just making sure that we're adding to keep the numbers strong, and you want to have enough numbers to have 3 strong lines, and it feels like we're contributing, and even then some, we're making a difference, and so that speaks well for the program and what they're doing in DL, but it also, I think, speaks well for our families and participants from the Perham area.
And, let's talk a little bit about gymnastics too. How did that season go, and just any contributors in there as well?
Yeah, they were this last Saturday just had their section tournament over in Detroit Lakes. They hosted, and we thank them for doing so. We punched 1 girl to the state tournament on the individual side. Ariana Myers is the section all-around champion, so she'll get to go down to Roy Wilkins and perform at the state meet, and do so in all events. So that's going to be a lot of fun for Ariana and our coaches. And Kayla Kyle is again, like Grant Durkheising, a brand new head coach, somebody who's been in the program a number of years, but now has assumed that role, and she's done a fabulous job with a very young squad. And we're excited for Ariana, and we're excited to have somebody down there.
And let's kind of take a look in that boys swimming and diving. Any Perham kids out in that one?
Yeah, we have a good number. That's a co-op as of the last 2 years with Detroit Lakes. Numbers for boys swimming has been a challenge, not only in Perham, but across a lot of areas. Since I've been AD here, we watched a lot of boys programs fold, and girls programs have seemingly stayed a little stronger. And so we've kept that going here in Perham, but it's gotten challenging, where, you might be averaging 8 to 9 students in the program. And so as we talked about that and reached out with Detroit Lakes, it made a lot of sense for us to co-op there too. And that's been going well. Our head coach now at Detroit Lakes is Mike Avant, and he does a fabulous job with a great swimming background. He was on our staff the last number of years with girls and boys. And so kind of a good Perham connection there for the overall program. And so when the need was there this year, Detroit Lakes ended up hiring him, and he's done a great job. And we have about, I think it's I can't remember exactly if it's 10 or 11 boys that are participating. Yeah.
And let's wrap things up here talking a little bit about the boys and girls alpine skiing and just how did things kind of go in that aspect?
Yep. That's one there. It can make it real easy for you. We don't have any participants this year.
Yeah.
And so that is a co-op that we do have and maintain. It's been great for those students and families that have had, some participation in that, have a passion for that. It's allowed them the opportunity to compete. But this year in Perham, we haven't had those students.
Yeah. And, there's some other things that are going on, even if it's not in athletics. I know Perham speech is always something that's been going on big this year, and just talk about how they've been rolling as they're kind of in the thick of their season.
Yeah. We talked right out of the gates here about how busy it can be. And that includes a number of our other activities that really, really, really do a good job. Speech is one of them. A robotics program is currently just working as hard as they can day in and day out, and some long nights trying to get ready for their regional competitions. We have a Knowledge Bowl team here in Perham that has been competing, high level competing, and doing very well in their competitions. We've got, visual arts, you got band and choir contests coming up. We got all sorts of things happening. BPA is something that a number of our schools have, Business Professionals of America. And I know they have a state competition coming up in March. And so FFA, you name it, all these schools have these differing opportunities for students that I think is just great. I think our schools around the area do a fabulous job of offering broad opportunities. I'm probably forgetting someone, so they'll let me know that if I have forgotten them, but it's not intentional. Our students are very involved here in Perham as well as other high schools. And we talk about it here. Our numbers show about 75% of our students are involved in activities.
Wow.
And that's an important piece of the pie when you're talking about education and the partnership that arts athletics can have with that. And so we're glad they get that broad experience.
Exactly. And, just to wrap things up here and put a bow on it, how great is it to see the hive full, whether it's, for the basketball, whether it's for wrestling, whether it's for anything, just what's it like to see that, for lack of a better term, buzz around Perham, in the gym, in the school this time of year? How great is it to see everybody go and support these kids?
Man, it's a lot of fun. Our communities are great. Perham supports their students in amazing ways, in my humble opinion, but when we watch how other schools and programs travel and their fan bases, there's a lot of passion out there, and that's fun. I mentioned Friday's section wrestling. The place was absolutely loaded with people. It was a great crowd. Even a couple of weeks ago now, we had a highly anticipated girls basketball game, Heart of Lakes matchup with Frazee and Perham. And the place was absolutely playoff atmosphere, full of people. It was a great Friday night. And so we're excited that, on the 6A level, some of our area schools will be participating in the Hive as we become a destination for the region for that. And so they're doing that differently this year. There's no more North and South on that 6A level either. So they're doing it kind of like 8AA does, where they're seeding the whole tournament. I personally think that's the best way to go. It's a true tournament. And so between us and Menahga now, they're going to flip-flop every year. There'll be the semifinal 2 games will be just on one night. And this year we get the boys in the Hive. And so that's going to be a fabulous night of 2 games that could match up some, 4 really, really high-level teams. And the girls will be at Menahga. Next year we'll get the girls and Waska will get the boys. But I like that new setup. And so we never see the Hive more alive than when we are hosting some 6A stuff. So credit to those schools and communities. They show up.
It's a lot of fun, and sports this time of year, like you said, it just cranks up to a whole nother level. Talking with Perham Activities Director Erin Anderson here on the Morning Sports Desk. Erin, we appreciate the time so much to be able to share what's going on at Perham. Best of luck to the teams as they get ready, not just for state, but for those section tournaments. And we'll talk to you as the spring and eventually the fall turns around.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate what you guys are doing too. You know that we love what you're doing for students.
Perham Activities Director Erin Anderson joining us on the Morning Sports Desk for Activities Director interviews every Monday on the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. See you.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.